Welcome to Blackbriar Gaming. In preparation for the new edition of Horus Heresy, Warhammer Community are going legion by legion, teasing us with rule snippets from the upcoming release. Today, we'll be looking at the 12th Legion, the World Eaters. Just a quick note before we get into it, as we're a new channel, a subscribe and a like really helps us reach a bigger audience. So if you enjoyed the video, please hit those buttons down below. World Eaters, here we go. Why do I like them? Well, how could you not like the World Eaters? Firstly, their relationship with their Primarch. Absolutely love it. Very unique, very interesting. Their Primarch kinda hates them, hates the Emperor too, but does not respect his own Legion, isn't a fan of them, sees them as just this hindrance holding him back, and he punishes them endlessly for this, which I really like. And his Legion don't really like him either. They respect that he's an insane killer that can do a lot of damage, but aren't that happy that he's there. He goes on to essentially mutilate his Legion with the butcher's nails, really to share his pain, to make them better by turning them into frothing, blood-drenched maniacs. It's cool stuff. It's a great story, and it happens within almost this utopian ideal that is the Crusade. There's lots of really nice legions doing lovely things and bringing worlds to compliance, sometimes through brutality, a lot of the Night Lords, for example, but you've got the Ultramarines and the Salamanders out there just doing a really good job, and then you've got the World Eaters out there doing a terrible job, but being used when they need to just absolutely carnage their way through planets' populations. I like Khan as a character as well. He's got this wonderfully tragic narrative behind him in this descent into madness, and his relationship, you get to see it with a bunch of the other characters from different legions as well, which is really cool. I read a short story last night about him and Amit from the from the Blood Angels, and they keep having these repetitive duels throughout this compliance, and the last battle is just them smashing each other's face into the ground. And the Primarch of the Blood Angels, Sanguinius, actually sent Amit to duel Khan repeatedly to learn a lesson there. So he's this respected but almost disrespected at the same time figure, and Khan's really cool. He does cool things. He's right there at the siege, right there till the end, and he's kind of the one keeping the Legion together, which is really unique in the way they tell his story and how it's different from his Primarchs. When it comes to the World Eaters and their playstyle, they're just a whole lot of fun. I would say that you will never have a bad game against a World Eaters player. They're just there to charge forward and tear their opponents up with chain axes. Always a sign of a good sport. One of my good mates plays World Eaters. That was his first Heresy army, and it really says a lot about him, and I would play that army over and over again. Always fun. So that's the World Eaters. Let's get into their rules that we've seen today. So their special rule, Violence Incarnate, it reads, on any turn in which a unit with this special rule makes a successful charge, it gains +1 attack for the remainder of that turn in addition to any other bonuses, even if that charge is considered a disordered charge. Yes, okay, it has that charge qualifier, which I've talked about before and that I was quite unimpressed with the Blood Angels, but here's why I think this rule is really good. I think it's far more impactful than what we've seen with those combat-focused special rules so far. It's got a much greater damage potential, for instance, than the Blood Angels rule. And this means that there's a greater chance that you're going to wipe out that unit on the turn that you charge in with that greater damage potential, subsequently taking better advantage of the rule in subsequent turns. So it stacks. It stacks nicer because it's doing more than what we've seen so far. It's also universally useful. The Emperor's Children rule, cool for some reasons, but those initiative shenanigans are sometimes not going to come into effect. They're not going to be useful for certain weapons or higher initiative units, for instance. The +1 attack will always be handy. And it also scales much better with the better your unit is as well. A Dreadnought, a Contempted Dreadnought, for instance, can do far more damage with an extra attack than a basic Bolter Pig, and likely wouldn't have benefited from something like the Situational Blood Angels rule, because it's already wounding on 2+, usually, right? So it's always useful. The better your unit is, the better this rule gets. It's the kind of rule you want for a combat-focused army. Yes, some movement bonuses like the Space Wolves have, for instance, would have been nice, but that's okay. It's doing damage, and that's what we want to see. I like that it stacks as well with other attack shenanigan rules. So Rage, good example. It's stacking with Rage, which is nice. It's not replacing it. So that's the real icing on the cake here. So what I'm saying with all of this is while it does still have that charge qualifier, which we don't love, and I've already explained why, so I won't retouch on that. It's definitely better than both the Emperor's Children and Blood Angel's special rule. It also synergizes neatly with their advanced reaction, which we'll have a look at now. So the advanced reaction, the Savage Tide. Here we go. This advanced reaction may be made once per battle during the opposing player's shooting phase. Now, I'm just going to give a brief here. Essentially, it gives you Feel No Pain 5+, great, and it then lets you charge into the unit that shot at you. Cool. Let's just read that. Once the shooting attack has been completely resolved, the reacting unit may make a charge, targeting the enemy that made the shooting attack. Okay, great. For a second, I thought you were able to charge anybody, not just the unit that shot at you. No. So you get 5+ Feel No Pain, and then you're able to charge the unit that shot at you. Great. The really nice bit here is that the enemy unit may not make a reaction to this charge. Okay, cool. Lots of stuff going on here. So let's talk about the Feel No Pain bit. There is a generic reaction called Shrouded, which gives you that 5+ shrug that Feel No Pain does. Shrouded is better for other reasons, worse for other reasons. Feel No Pain is universally reliable. Shrouded, not so much. So if a unit has Ignore Cover, for instance, or it has Night Vision, Shrouded goes away. Feel No Pain does not. Shrouded, okay, just to qualify, playtest rules here, playtest rules. If you've got the rulebook, congratulations, you're a content creator that's liked by GW more than I am, or at least I've only been around for a little bit, right? So I might get there. Do I want to get there? That's another question. Won't go into that now. Playtest rule, Shrouded does ignore instant death, where Feel No Pain doesn't. So there's pros and cons to both. I think Feel No Pain will be the more reliable. There are units out there that ignore cover. If you're playing Night Lords and they've all got night vision, you're in a bit of trouble. So, Feel No Pain, pretty good. Sure, Shrouded, same thing. You could always use it, but the Feel No Pain is not the only part you're getting here. The Feel No Pain is almost like the bonus on what this advanced reaction is really about. What this is really about is that charge after you get shot at. So, some people might say, but if you're charging now, why didn't you just charge last turn? Well, there's a bunch of interesting circumstances that I will quickly go into, a few of them at least, on why that might not be the case. So, why is charging when getting shot at good, and why would you have not just charged last turn? Well, in this case, you might have ran last turn to get closer, but of course you usually can't charge after running. Another reason, you might have failed your charge last turn, and you might say, but wouldn't you just be the same distance away and might charge again? Well, yes and no. In the playtest rules, much like old school Warhammer Fantasy, you still move a bit even when you fail a charge. So you're going to be a bit closer, and it might have hurt failing that charge, but now at least you get shot at, you get to go again, which is great. This advanced reaction is a really great counter to short-range firepower units in drop pods or coming out of rhinos. Those 10-man units that we're no doubt going to see wielding melt guns or plasma guns that pop out to decimate your army. Well, if they don't completely kill your unit, you're now charging in, which is super nice. Maybe your unit itself has come down in a drop pod, which I'm pretty sure you can't assault straight out of. Please correct me if I'm wrong. But maybe you want to fill your opponent's backline with a bunch of units in drop pods. Yes, you can't charge that turn, but the second they start shooting at you, you start charging in, it's really cool. It stops enemy assault units shooting first with pistols or other weapons. So let's say your World Eater army unit is about to get charged by an enemy assault unit. Well, they've got a bunch of plasma pistols on them maybe. Or they're a special Legion specific unit with some Legion funky weapons. They're not going to want to use them because you'll get the charge off, which means you'll get the attack bonus, which is doubly good because you're World Eaters, so you're getting 2 attack bonuses for charging. So they're going to keep their pistols and their assault weapons to themselves, which means you've got less damage coming in. So it's a deterrent in that case. So plenty of circumstances where it comes in handy. It protects your units literally with the Feel No Pain, and it works as a deterrent as well in lots of circumstances. The enemy will be able to play around it, and I wouldn't want something that they couldn't. A smart opponent will be able to play the game and maybe order their shooting in a certain way to make this less impactful. So keep that in mind. Yes, sure, they'll be able to get around it sometimes, but I'm pretty confident that at least once per game, which is the limit, you can use it anyway, it will come in handy. I like it, and it stacks neatly with what the World Eaters want to be doing. Moving on to chainaxes. So there's this little piece down the bottom here. Savage Fervor. Any model with the Legiones Astartes World Eater special rule with a chainsword may exchange the chainsword for a chainaxe for no additional cost in points. there is a no downside here. So correct me if I'm wrong, someone with the rulebook, but in the playtest rules, the chain axe was just +1 strength over a chainsword. It's just better. There's no downsides, +1 strength. So now World Eaters, for free, if they want to, can just get +1 strength across any of their units that could previously take a chainsword. Now, if we go back to the Blood Angels special rule, which was that +1 to wound, now it won't always be the case, because +1 strength won't always translate to a +1 to wound when you're fighting certain enemies, but, Marines on Marines here, that +1 strength just gave you that +1 wound, which is the Blood Angels special rule, but you're also getting that +1 attack. Ouch, that's gotta hurt. It's gotta hurt for the Blood Angels players, but the World Eaters players are absolutely loving this. They are all about it. I just want to see chain axes everywhere, as it should be. Really happy about that. So with this rule and with their +1 attack, they're getting +1 attack, sometimes +1 to wound with this one. Great stuff. We're seeing great stuff with the World Eaters. I think they really deserve it. They're just such a fun legion. They are so iconic for the Horus Heresy, and I think we're going to see a lot of them on the table, as we should. And that brings us to the end of our Heresy chats for today. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think about the World Eaters rules in the comments. Make sure to keep rolling those dice and getting hyped for Heresy.